welcome to another episode of Motors for the Masses.
And this week we will be looking at 125 custom cruisers.
Now, some people refer to them as choppers, but they're not really chopper bikes, are they?
I think they're more sort of classic Harley.
Yes. So what do we have in this week's lineup? Well, we've got the Keeway Superlight 125. We've got the Keeway Superlight 125. This is the LTD or limited version, and the Sinnis Hoodlum.
This one is the Euro 3 spec Superlight with an air-cooled, carburetted 10.4 horsepower engine, which will get you about 65 miles an hour.
Whereas this one is the Euro 4 spec. Again, uses the same 10.4 brake horsepower engine, but it's fuel injection, which means it's also good for around 60-65 miles an hour. Now, the difference between the two is that with the carburetor, it's probably going to feel a little bit more vigorous on the acceleration, whereas this one might feel a little bit slower, but in actual fact it's not slower, it's just smoother. So it takes you through the gears a lot more nicely.
So let's talk about differences.
Yes, brakes for one.
This one has a 275mm front disc and a 160mm rear drum.
This one also has a 275mm front disc with an updated caliper and a 240 rear disc.
I believe this one has the combined brakes for Euro 4 spec.
Indeed it does.
So let's have a little game of top trumps.
Oh yes indeed, right, okay. This weighs 134 kilos.
This weighs 134 kilos.
I'm a bit suspect about that with all this stuff hanging off it,
Yeah.
but we'll come on to that later. Okay, 15 litre fuel tank.
15 litre fuel tank.
2,260 millimetres long.
Yes.
Alright, 110 front tyre.
110 front tyre with a different tread.
130 back tyre.
Also a 130 back tyre.
Kickstart.
I have a kickstart just in case.
Foot plates.
We've got foot plates.
Right, okay. So basically what you've got here are two very different bikes, but also very similar bikes. Okay, there are obvious differences like the looks. This one is black and that one is matte black. This one has lots of bits stuck all over it. That one doesn't. This one is the Euro 3, that one is the Euro 4, but there is a Euro 4 version of this as well.
So what Keeway have done here is catered for two different tastes.
Indeed, either the old Harley style or a more modern take on a bobber, chopper, custom cruiser type bike. So yes, if you like chrome, studs, panniers, screen and all this lot, then this is probably the better bike for you.
However, with the LTD, we've moved away from the more traditional look. We've gone for this matte black finish, which is, slightly more modern.
However, I can't help thinking that as nice as this bike is, I think it would look better if all this chrome was black as well. What do you think?
I think maybe a brushed aluminium finish would be nice.
Yeah, that might work. Yeah, brushed aluminium rather than the shiny chrome.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it suits the matte black feel of the bike. Now, both bikes come with the twin dials, one for the rev counter and one for the speedo, and I really love this fuel gauge in the tank.
I also like we've gone to the effort. Rather than using a piece of vinyl for the badge, it's a proper embossed kind of plastic moulded badge. It's really nice.
Yeah, it feels raised. That's a nice touch. I like that.
And they've added these stud sections to the seat. I mean, they're not just clipped on or poked on, they're actually stitched into the seat. That's properly there.
They've gone to some effort, basically. They've put thought into what they've done.
Yeah. On a slightly negative note, As far as I appreciate, it's advertising and getting the name out there, and it's part of it. This Keeway logo could maybe be dulled down just a bit, maybe grey or silver, not white.
No, yes, I agree with that.
Especially on that bike.
Yes, this one more so simply because it doesn't really match the Superlight badge on here, which is already grey, and the same on that one, it's grey, or maybe a bit more shiny, but it certainly isn't white. Other little touches too are like these rear pedals. Now, they click when they come out, which is a nice touch, but they also, when they go back in, they sit flush with this panel, and I think that's nice little attention to detail.
Both bikes are fitted with right way up forks and twin shocks on the rear. On this bike in particular, and this is brilliant, this rack, the pannier bags, the crash bars and the screen are all in the price. There's no additional cost for those. That's absolutely brilliant. So I think all that remains to do is have a little listen and maybe a test drive of these bikes.
Wait. First of all, let's bring in its rival.
Ah yes, the Sinnis Hoodlum.
The Sinnis Hoodlum. So the Sinnis Hoodlum is also Euro 4 and has an 11 brake horsepower 125 overhead cam engine, but it's a bit of a fat boy at 140 kilos, which is 6 kilograms more than the Keeway.
This bike does not come with the just-in-case kickstart, just the electric start, but that's no biggie.
It also, like the Keeway, comes with right way up telescopic forks, but adjustable twin rear shocks.
It has a 270mm front disc with a triple pistons caliper up front.
But it's got drum brakes on the back.
Okay, so moving on to something slightly more negative, because it pains me to say, because I really like the overall look of this bike. This exhaust here is wrong. It needed a little kink here and to give it a more linear finish.
Unfortunately, the welding finish doesn't actually look that professional. It looks quite amateur. And whilst we're on the subject of negativity, I'm not that impressed with the brake master cylinder. They've left it in that aluminium look, and they could have painted it black, or at least tucked it round out of the way like they have on the Keeway. Other than that, it's a fantastic bike, certainly to look at, and certainly to sit on, with a 730mm seat height, the same as the Keeway. It feels very nice to be on. I just think these little touches have let it down a little bit. Now, I really do like this seat design with this diamond pattern. It's a fantastic looking finish. And when you sit on it, it feels a lot more chopper-like than the Keeway does, with these handlebars wide and laid back, and these pedals positioned quite nicely for your feet, along with these footsteps, which actually do move. So if you catch them on the floor, they're just going to flip up and not bang you around a corner. It feels really nice. The seat is a little bit hard, certainly harder than the Keeway, but overall the position is much nicer. Now at the front end here, it is much more simple than the Keeway. You've only got one dial, there's no rev counter, and nothing else getting in the way. That's pretty much it. What else can I say? Now, where I understand that this has to be positioned on the right hand side here. By the way, don't worry about the blue, that's just a covering over the chrome so it doesn't get scratched. But I understand it's supposed to be here because of the shape of the tank under the frame, but this really plays with my OCD. Should be in the middle. With funky looking LED indicators with this nice bullet shape. It's got an LED rear light, and this front light is much more bobber chopper looking than the Keeway, which has that big silvery, quite standard looking front light.
Okay, so we've done all the kind of talky bits. Can we hear them run now?
Yes, let's fire them up. Brilliant. So first of all, let's start with the Sinnis Hoodlum. Key position down here. Very nice. I like the way it moves around, but it has got a noisy fuel pump by the sounds of that.
That could, however, be because there's no fuel in it.
There could be that. very quiet. It's got quite a deep rumble, but it's not loud and in your face.
That's quite nice.
It's quite nice. It is definitely 125 sounding, but it's not bad. Okay,
Yeah. So on to the Keeway Superlight. We don't have any movie dials on this one. Oh, nice.
yeah, that twin exhaust definitely makes a difference. You can hear it coming out twice, so it does actually make a difference. I know that sounds a bit weird, but I think you understand what I mean. Definitely has a nicer rev about it.
Yeah, I like that. It is nice.
Okay, let's take them out.
First up, the Keeway Superlight LTD or Limited.
Overall, not a bad ride indeed. Now, this style of bike is not really my style. To be honest, I'm more of a lean forward kind of rider. I used to have a Honda Shadow many years ago, but I've pretty much forgotten what it was like to ride that. So what did you think riding it?
Well, it felt pretty well balanced. The issues I had is that on the odd occasion you feel like you're going to go and you want to put your foot down fairly quick. And I know you shouldn't have to do that, but sometimes you do. And with my feet way forward on these big plates, I didn't feel like I'd get there quick enough.
I mean, I'll be honest, at slow speeds it felt quite stable to me. It didn't feel as though I was going to fall off it. I understand what you're saying, because your feet are forward, so your balance is a little bit out.
Yeah.
So it can be a little bit tricky, but I guess that's, if you're used to this style of bike riding, then it shouldn't be a problem. For me, the foot plates were a little bit tricky. Not this one, because I didn't have a problem with it. This one, changing gear, I've got to move my foot forward to change gear and then move it back onto the plate. I guess the argument could be that you keep it forward, go through the gears, and then once you're cruising, move it back. So it's probably not that much of a problem. Again,
Maybe.
if you're used to this style of bike, it's probably not an issue.
Yeah, but my thinking with that is that I want to be comfortable whilst going through the gears, and it's not a comfortable place for my foot.
Right, I can see that. I mean, one negative that I will say are these bolts.
Yeah,
now, when you're riding, it's not a problem because your feet are on here and your legs are away. But if you're manoeuvring the bike, they dig in quite badly, one this side and on this side, and that can be a little bit annoying.
That's right on your inner thigh as well.
Other than that, it's a nice bike to sit on. It's very comfortable. This seat is lovely and comfortable.
Yeah, I agree.
And it feels like a big bike. It sounds good. It's got good presence on the road. And overall, I don't think there's that much of a problem with it. There are little niggles, but
I think it's all stuff that you'll just get used to.
exactly. I mean, that's the thing. If you're this kind of rider with this kind of bike, probably not a problem at all.
And it looks good.
It does. It does. Certainly does look good. Right. Let's move on to the hoodlum.
Yes.
Okay, it's time to be a hoodlum. So, what did you think of that?
I absolutely love how this rides.
It feels a lot nicer to ride on the road. This seat is a little bit harder, but once you're riding and your feet are up, it doesn't make any difference.
I found this to be super comfortable. Compared to my own bike, that's really nice.
Right, well, overall, very impressed. At low speeds, it turns corners fantastically. There's no chance of you even thinking about falling over. It really holds the road quite nicely.
And we're talking, you know, no revs, right? Tick over, first gear, clutch out. You can just creep around in little circles, figure eights, whatever you like. It's really stable.
Fantastic. Now, the only thing I'm not too happy about is this indicator up here. It's got the gear indicator and whether you're in neutral or not. And when it's sunny, you can't see it. There's no chance of you seeing that unless you're really right down and covering it up, which, let's be honest, you're not going to be doing whilst riding. Now, the position of these is also better. They do flip up just in case you hit them on the floor, but your feet are more of an angle like this and not flat like they are on the Keeway. So you can reach these pedals with much more confidence, and you're not having to move your foot forward and back all the time to change gear.
No, because these pedals are much lower, you don't feel like you can't put your foot down quickly like I did on the Keeway. It's much nicer,
Yes.
better position.
Very impressed with this, and Sinnis seem to be having a bit of a pattern here. They are building bikes that are superior quality than a lot of the other Chinese brands. Now, not to say that there's problems with the Chinese bikes, because let's be honest, that is old school, and you really need to stop thinking that Chinese bikes are crap, because they're not anymore.
No, they're excellent.
But this one feels as though it's built much nicer than a lot of the others.
It's just putting more effort in. I mean, you know, we've talked about the LED lights and the overall style of the bike is really nice, it's put together well. I mean, the only thing that really lets it down, I think, is the exhaust.
And this master cylinder.
Absolutely.
Other than that, fantastic bike.
But let's face it, you could paint that and change that.
I'm sure you could probably get a twin exhaust like they've got on the Keeway and stick one on the side of this. Paint that, like you said, no problem. And Sinnis have really outdone themselves again, I think.
Of course, if you change the exhaust can, you're going to get better sound as well.
Oh, and maybe some kind of visor for this indicator.
Or maybe just brighter lights. Who knows?
But superb bike.
Excellent.
Okay, let's talk about some prices. Well, this Keeway Superlight 125 in standard mode. I say standard mode, you do get this screen, you get the bars, you get the panniers, like we said. That comes in at £1,899 on the road with a 2-year parts and labour warranty. Now, the Euro 4 spec is out, and that one is available for £2,299. Now, for £50 less, because obviously 50 quid just for these, and these, not a bad price if you ask me, £2,249 for this limited version in matte black. Now that's a good price.
So moving on to Sinnis Hoodlum. 125, obviously 4-stroke. We've got a 1-year parts and labour, followed by a 1-year parts only warranty. £2,150 on the road.
If it was your money, what would it be on?
I would spend all of my hard-earned cash on this one, out of these three, obviously.
Right.
I really like how this rode. It was nice.
I'm not sure what I'd do, to be honest, because I like bits of this and I like bits of that. I like the way that rides, I like the way that feels. That master cylinder, that exhaust is a bit of a niggle for me. If I could put a different exhaust on it, change the master cylinder, do something with the dials and that instrument cluster bit, I'd be happy with that.
I would just be happy as is, and I would change the exhaust.
So that, ladies and gents, brings us to the end of this episode of Motors for the Masses. Thank you very much for joining us. Please come back next time when we'll have more bikes, and we've got a giveaway coming up. In fact, it's running now, so pop along to that video and have a look. You can win yourself an Amazon Echo Dot.
Sounds good to me. So don't forget, like, subscribe, watch everything else, because that's brilliant, that always helps. And most importantly, ride safe, drive safe, and have fun.
But what I'd also like to add on the end of that is thank you, everybody, for subscribing, because
Absolutely.
our subscribers have rocketed in the past couple of weeks. We've gone from 500 subscribers to 1,000 subscribers to now 1,400 subscribers. And it's all thanks to you. So thank you very much, and we'll be bringing you more soon. So until then, like you said, ride safely, drive safely, but have fun. Bye!
And that's a wrap.